on behalf of those whose hearts are perfecting, leaning, trusting towards Him. 2 Chronicles 16:9. At the same time, those eyes were flames of fire. It was like Revelation chapter 1. And the eyes of the Lord run to and fro on where the lampstands are burning. And the lampstand is God's call, what God's people have got from God. And they are in an assembly, they are in a formation, a heaven-born house with the heaven-given lampstand, and they are serving the Lord. And where the Lord's lampstand is, the Lord walks. So we know there are churches born in heaven and there are other accomplishments of men. So at this time, the lampstand that is born of God, and every believer brings their lamp there and they serve the Lord. And there, the eyes of the Lord are burning with flames, and what He has sprinkled with His blood, He is preserving. What is not sprinkled with His blood, He doesn't preserve. So it's a time for the believer to get into works and fruit that will last for eternity. John 15:8 tells us the fruit that will last, the harvest that will be. So the world went through its sowing period, and the world went through its watering period, the world's industries. So men used God's resources as they pleased, and harvest time had to come, and harvest time came. What man has sowed and what man has reaped. So man sowed science and reaped COVID, virus and vaccines, deception and destruction. Now it is very clear that the virus was made in a Wuhan lab, according to the instruction of America's CDC and Dr. Fauci. All the emails are showing that, and people are dying of this virus even in 2019 and November, but it was hidden. It was alleged that there is no human-to-human spread till the whole thing went all over the world. And then they denied early treatment, and they still do that. And in all this, medical journals were involved, young professors were involved. Now they are talking shutdown, and in UK, the Prime Minister is saying we must have a app to show that you are jabbed or not jabbed. So the UK Prime Minister is leading the global scheme to get that identity going, a vaccine passport. There are others who oppose him, but the whole UK academic system was bought over for this purpose. That's what investigation shows. So the world has its harvest. The way the economies were run, where the consumerism was run, where sex became an industry, pornography became an industry, pedophilia became an industry, how governments have run, how people in government profit from a nation's resources, and how global dinosaurs play ball with certain kind of politicians. In every nation this has gone on. So pharma became a major industry, vaccine became a major industry, illness, wellness became a major industry, fashion, IT, the whole system has been running. So COVID year was the harvest year. So we come to Matthew 13. What was the harvest like? Jesus presented another parable to them. Matthew 13:24. The kingdom of heaven may be compared to a man who sowed good seed in his field, while his men were sleeping. So the good owner, the master, sowed good seed and asked the church to cultivate the world with good education, good science, good medicine, good morals. But the church went to sleep, the good men went to sleep. Enemy came and sowed tares among the wheat and went away. So Harvard and other Princeton and other institutions that were begun by Christian pioneers all went awry, and Marx came, Freud came, Darwin came, others came, and the church slept. Often church agreed with those philosophies, and the world was run over by weeds. Then harvest had to come. When the wheat sprouted, bore grain, then the tares became evident also. Slaves of the landowner came and said to him, Sir, did you not sow good seed? And he said to them, Enemy has done this. The slave said to them, shall we go and uproot? No, he said, wait for the gathering time. So the gathering time was the COVID year. Allow both to grow together until the harvest. I will say to the reapers, first gather up the tares, and those reapers will be angels who gather up the tares. Gather the wheat into my barn. Tares explained, the enemy who sowed them is the devil. Matthew 13:39. And the harvest is the end of the age, and the reapers are angels. So just as the tares are gathered up, burnt with fire, so the harvest has begun, and COVID year showed what man has done with ecology and all those systems. And now, what if the threshing floor is beginning? To the threshing floor comes God's people for a God harvest, God assessment. So Luke 3, verse 17, his winnowing fork is in his hand to thoroughly clear his threshing floor and to gather the wheat into his barn, but he will burn up the chaff with unquenchable fire. So each Christian needs to mind in your plot of influence how much tares, how much wheat. And the tares will be uprooted at the time. That's what's happened in the last year, COVID year. And now time has come to gather up your wheat. Now the distinction and the differentiation is between the good wheat and the chaff, the empty seed. How much of what our life labor will remain? Now I can see Christians don't like judgment language. Unbelievers don't like judgment language, that we understand, because they don't own up to God, they don't belong to God, they think, and they don't owe anything to God. But even Christians, over the many decades now, they have never liked the judgment language. So when 1 Peter 4:17 said, judgment shall begin in the house of God, they didn't like it. And when the message to the church of Laodicea was read out, let's read the message to the church of Laodicea, which is a message of judgment. Christians behaved as if it didn't apply to them. Look at the church that would be there at this time. Revelation 3. Because you say, verse 17, I am rich, I have become wealthy, and have need of nothing. And you do not know that you are wretched, miserable, poor, blind, and naked. So there was never a church going for riches like the church of the last decade or last 2 decades. So that's the church. I advise you to buy from me gold refined by fire. So the fire has come, that you may become rich, and white garments, so that you may clothe yourself, and so that the shame of your nakedness will not be revealed, and eye salve to anoint your eyes, so that you may see. So obviously this is the prescription for God, because he judged the church and said, you don't know you are wretched, miserable, poor, blind, and naked. So to overcome that, God is offering gold tried in the fire. So the COVID year was a time of fire, where we could refine our faith like gold, apply the eye salve and see, and get our clothing into order, literally and metaphorically. Because church went on in the world's ball and got quite caught up with it. So here it is, you can ask yourself, how did I spend the last 24 hours? Just make an assessment, last 24 hours, and write down the things you did in the last 24 hours. How many of that would be eternally profitable? So I plead with you, please do this assessment, and in the next 24 hours, drop out the things that were not profitable. And many parents complain that children are at home. You know, in many nations where they can't trust the government system, which is teaching transgenderism, which is teaching homosexualism, LGBTQI agenda, they homeschool children. They have to sweat it through at home. Parents have to. Yes. So now COVID is no good. But in this time, we have to homeschool our children. So what's the complaint? Complaint is that it's tough. Complaint is that we can't get on with life as we used to. So many things that we thought were essentials of life are gone. But let's attend on the essentials as God thinks is essential. This is the threshing floor, where our chaff will be removed and grain will remain. So we come to Luke 22, what the Lord told Simon on that night after the supper, Last Supper. Simon, Simon, behold, 22:31, Luke, Satan has demanded permission to sift you like wheat. Why? Because there were siftable things in him. I have prayed for you that your faith may not fail. And you, when once you have turned again, strengthen your brother. This is the call. Turn again to the essentials. And the Lord said today, offer the banners of the Lord for every assembly, for every Christian. Jehovah Nissi, Jehovah Rapha. This is the time all assemblies, all Christians have to lock their shields and keep the territory of the Lord. And we are asked to be clad with the zeal of the Lord, so that when the Lord comes with eyes of fire to his church, Lord comes with eyes of fire to his church, where the lampstands are. That's his church. To protect, include what his fire can protect, what his fire will preserve. So we understand, we are told in 1 Corinthians 3, there will be work in the name of God which will burn up, but he himself shall be saved. This is God's judgment time. This is what we always read. 1 Corinthians 3:18, let no man deceive himself. If 1 Corinthians 3, verse 14. If any man's, verse 13, each man's work will become evident, for the day will show it, because it is to be revealed with fire. What is your work, Dad? What is your work, Mom? That will be revealed with fire. And the fire itself will test the quality of each man's work. Now if any man builds on the foundation with gold, silver, precious, stone, wood, hay, straw. If any man's work which he has built on it remains, he will receive a reward. If any man's work is burnt up, he will suffer loss, but he himself will be saved, yet so as through fire. Do you not know that you are a temple of God, and the Spirit of God dwells in you? If any man destroys the temple of God, God will destroy him, for the temple of God is holy, and that is what you are. Let no man deceive himself. If any man among you thinks that he is wise in this age, he must become foolish, so that he may become wise. So it's a time like that, that our life work will be tested. What will be lasting will last. This is the threshing floor. Let's get ready for this time. And his promise is true in Revelation chapter 3. Revelation chapter 3, his promise is true to the church of Philadelphia. Let's read it and be strengthened. Because you have little power, I have kept my word, have not denied my name. Those of the enemy will come down and bow at your feet, and I will make them to know that I have loved you, because you have kept the word of my perseverance. I also will keep you from the hour of testing, that which is about to come upon the whole world, to test those who dwell on the earth. I am coming quickly. Hold fast what you have, so that no man will take your crown. So let's believe the word of God. This is the time we live in. We have little power, but we hold on to his name, we hold on to his word. All shall be well in my soul. And we are placed on the rock eternal. Don't get involved with the skirmishes of men's waters and waves. Waves have risen and waves have crashed, but the rock eternal remains. God bless you. God keep you.